Sankirtanalapani Shamangi Madhu Sikta Sakti Amrita Nandatmikami Dhyayamodam Lavagunatanavati Tejo Mayim Naishtaki Snigdhapanga Vilokani Bhagavati. Woohoo! All right, can you hear us, everybody? All right, thank you, Caitlin. Kayla, awesome, very good. Thank you, everybody. All right, this is great. I want to welcome you guys to tonight's show. Starting off, I do want to say that we have subscriptions, memberships here at YouTube now. So those are available. There's a link under the video as well as a link in the description box. And that comes at 3 levels. And each level brings us different benefits. So the first level, you get extra videos, you get behind the scenes, you get posts and polls and all the good stuff here that members will get. And that's at $4.99. And then up a level from that, you get all of the same stuff, plus a monthly message from Ivy. And that's personalized, and you get that once a month. And that's $24.99. And one up from that, you get all that was below, and a monthly horoscope. That's $49.99. That's a great one. And that, again, you can click in the link below. And there's a button right below the video as well. In addition, alongside that, we are able to take donations through this channel now. So down below where you would type, there is a button with a little $ on it. If you're so inclined, you can donate through that. It's lovely to do, so any is appreciated, so thank you so much. We have some new members, so I want to thank all of them for joining. And also, we have our Psychic Mediumship course is underway. And if you want to register for that, please do so now. You can get more information from me. I'll gladly give that to you. Or if you want to wait, we have a new one starting February 16th. That's we're calling Spring 2021. It's going to be an awesome class, and you can check that out at IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com.
Yay!
Yay!
Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing? Could you get my computer going here?
Yes.
All right, very good. All right. How are we doing? Do we have audio?
Yeah, we're looking good, sounding good. People are loving Mondays.
If you guys can hit that thumbs up button right now, it would be greatly appreciated. And for those of you who have not subscribed, that would also be appreciated. A lot of people are like, what is that bell? If you hit the bell every time I go live, for whether it's because I go live for the free classes, I go live for the Q&A. What else do we go live for? Whatever. So when I do that, it will alert you. It'll come up in your phone as a opportunity for you to join in at that time. So that's what the bell is. It's not constantly bothering you, but I think it's handy. Okay, so am I centered? All right. Happy election week, everyone. We are in a much better position than we were last week. Thank God. All right. So I just want to take a second to take a deep breath to celebrate that with everyone. This is truly incredible. And I could not be more proud of everybody for coming together and doing the right thing for everyone who did. And to help you understand that this is a great time for us to maximize. At the point where we are in the Great Awakening, we are being called to service so much more. And anyone who is feeling like you're drawn into light work, you're drawn into the healing arts, you feel that you're more intuitive this year after the way 2020 has been. I did a couple free mini classes on that, and you are right. That is dead on accurate. There's a reason all of this is happening. And this election just really pushed that work forward. So do not hesitate, okay? Move forward. All right. So, how are we doing here?
We're doing well.
All right, very good. I did want to talk about a couple of the free mini classes that are coming up. So I've been doing one free mini class per week, sometimes two, called the Quarantine Series due to the pandemic. These are up. Polly has made a beautiful playlist of all of them, so you could check them out there. The next one that we have coming up is called The Clairs. The Clairs is going to break down what intuitive intelligences you may have. It's sort of like a sixth sense, okay? So everyone says like, well, you can smell, you can see, you can feel things, but what if you can like hear predictions in your head, or you have clairvoyant visions of what's going to happen in the future or in the past, or you can physically feel in your body when someone else is in pain? What is all that? There are 6 different clairs I want to break down on that day. Okay, then we have more. That's actually going to be Thursday of this week at 8 p.m. Eastern here. If you cannot make it, it will get published, so you could check it out afterward. Am I good to start?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Our first one up is from Caitlin, who asks, how can I trust my intuition? I grew up with a narcissist parent, so I second-guess myself often.
How can I trust my intuition? I grew up with a narcissistic parent. One of the things that you have to do with your gut instinct when you've been abused or neglected in any way is to test it out a lot until you feel confident that you know the difference. I did a free mini class called Emotion versus Intuition that will break this down for you. So go into the playlist and watch that. It's a long explanation. That's why I have the class. But essentially it's this. Every time you think you're getting a gut instinct, you need to start pulling back and saying, well, now wait a minute. Is this a trauma response? Is this one of my triggers? Am I being paranoid? Or is this feeling like it's legitimate, that I have a sense of peace with this answer? And you need to start asking too, where did it come from? Because if it did come from a trigger response, and that requires self-development, you just have to be willing to do the shadow work and to work through the healing, and therapy can help a lot figuring out those triggers. But if it is a trigger response, you can basically say, all right, well, now I know it's not necessarily my gut. I shouldn't overreact to this or give it too much validity. It could be, if it's hysterical, it's historical. But, if you start to ask more questions like, where did this come from? For example, if your right ear is ringing, okay, the grandmothers used to say left for love, right for spite. That was fairly accurate. If your right ear is ringing, you have a tinnitus, you have a feeling of pressure, and then you have a thought about something that is a warning or a heads up on a situation or person around you that you need to pay attention to, that could be your gut instinct. Gut instinct isn't really what we're told it is. It's rarely a feeling. Most people don't feel anything in their actual gut. It's more like it's in your head, or it's in your heart, it's in your energy, it's a knowing, it's in the still small voice. Another free mini class we did here. So look at that one too, the still small voice. How to know the difference between what a real message is versus your own imagination, your thinking, your emotion. Both of those classes will help you, but start asking where did it come from and pay attention to, physically and emotionally how you felt when you received that gut instinct. Yeah, narcissists will really screw you up good on that one, especially if you were raised by one. So whether you've been abused by like parents, or you had them as family members, mentors for you, or it was an abusive relationship. We also did a free mini class, I want to say 3 weeks ago, called The Narcissist and the Intuitive, and the damage that it can do on being able to use your gut instinct effectively once one of those are kind of done with you, So watch that video as well.
Very good. All right. Next one's from Carrie, who is hoping her mom, Laurel, will come through and comment on her current work situation at the Buffalo VA. Should she stay or go?
Go. So when your mom comes in here, she makes me feel like she's a pretty no-nonsense person, but there were different times in her life where whether she battled like self-esteem or she just really didn't always make herself a priority, she didn't put herself first, and she knows that she should have now. She doesn't want you to carry on those negative traits. She is apologizing for that, even though, don't get me wrong, she's a lovely person, she's hilarious, she's uplifting, she's a great mom. It's not that. It's just that sometimes we hand down to our children characteristics that we really regret later, in hindsight. And that happens because we're not working on ourselves, because we're self-sacrificing, and it just isn't good. It becomes a generational curse, so to speak. And this is why I talk a lot on here about ancestral healing. When you get your power back, when you do what's right for you, when you clear your throat chakra, when you speak your truth, when you go and claim what you rightfully deserve, you heal the ancestral line. And this is a great opportunity for you to do that. She's helping and supporting you in it. Get out of there.
Very good.
And she said, like, burning a bridge, get out of there, which is basically like, don't expect much. State your piece. You've said enough. You've done everything you should. It's like, don't expect anything of these people. It's like, wash your hands of it and burn that bridge and just go, I wouldn't take that too literally, but I don't know. Maybe. Okay.
Okay. We have one from Kelly.
Okay.
Will I regret my now near final decision to not have children with my husband, Sean?
No, you will not regret this. So what I'm hearing with this situation is that you may reach a point after maybe 3 to 4 years where you stop questioning this as much as you are now. And I think that what's really important to examine is the separation between a romantic partnership and childbearing, and I think too many people pull it all in together. It's kind of like, well, I have to get married and I have to get a house and I have to breed and I have to do all this together. And it's like, whoa, those are really separate ideas here, especially those two. And when we try to force it, we end up with literal disaster. Okay, this is why I believe, anyways, the divorce rate is like so high, or people are unwilling to get married anymore. There are many, many ways to have a child. Trying to fit that into this marriage is not the smartest way. If it were to happen naturally and both people were to be okay with it, that's one thing. But I think that what you're really feeling is that there was this part of you that wanted that or wanted to explore bringing in a child to a degree, but I don't feel that you're weighing it, or I would say when we look at your higher mind, what is your higher mind really telling you? I don't feel that your higher mind is like weighing that over making the family and the relationship function, so you don't want to maybe throw it, and that's okay. I think that eventually you will also be moving on to other things. And again, I keep getting that 3 to 4 year mark out for you. So there could be more coming up at that time that would have really been difficult for you in the future to take advantage of with a small child. There's more coming. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We have one from MS.
Okay.
Who's wondering about her mom Uma's retirement and wondering when might it happen.
When might Uma retire?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing an opportunity for this at about 9 months out from now, and then I'm seeing the 1 year mark, and that comes up really big, actually, most intensely. And then I'm feeling like about a year and a half. There seems to be something going on with her mobility or her ability to get around as much as she may need to keep this job going at about a year and a half. They wrote a year and 2 months. So anywhere from a year and 2 months to a year and a half. If she's holding on that long, that's when we would see some changes in the circumstance. But you may be hearing more about how this could play out at 9 months. at the 1 year mark. That's the loudest point of all three of these, where then we have some answers about when this would be best done. I think that she has her own ideas about when to do this or how to do this, and that could stretch out as far as 5 years. I really don't see it taking that long. I think we're more within this range. Okay.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Next one we have is from Ash J Reviews. I had a really close friendship that very abruptly ended with my friend Ray. No sort of contact or sign of them on social media. Is it worth it for me to try and see if I can reach out to rekindle?
I don't think so. I just put up a video on my TikTok today. I just put out a video on TikTok about reaching, and it was for a previous show where someone was asking about reaching within their career, their light working career. And what I said there really applies to everyone in every situation. And it is this: when we have to reach, especially with people, that is a sign that something isn't working. You are either not welcome, you are unintentionally maybe pushing it away, or there is some kind of karmic lesson in here that you're not seeing. And so regardless, it's of how hard you push, of how much you overextend and reach, it's going to have an opposing effect. Because anytime we have an imbalanced relationship dynamic, it is always at the core of our prosperity. One of the things you may have noticed is that at the same time you started to reach in this relationship, you would have lost prosperity in other areas of your life. This can affect you mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. You may just think you have a string of bad luck. So I did a class, it's up on my website, called Relationships, Boundaries, and Cord Cutting, that helps people to release a situation or an addiction or a relationship when they feel that they're stuck in that type of scenario, or they can't shake this person for some reason. And that would help you a lot. Ultimately, what you need to be doing is protecting your prosperity in every area by making sure your relationships that are at the core of every area of prosperity, that they're balanced. They must be. And the only way to balance out your relationships is to own your own energy and to be mindful, because you can't force anybody to do anything. So we just also did a free mini class last week called Stay in Your Lane. When are you overreaching? When do you not have a healthy sense of boundaries in situations, at your job, with others, and how is that affecting you? This is a prime example of what not to do and how to let go and how to take the negativity of it and convert it into positivity by learning the lessons therein. So that's where your head needs to be right now. No, it is not worth you reaching out more. I think by now we've learned this, but you have to apply it.
Okay, we have one from Not Tameable.
I like that.
Yeah. I woke up days ago with my name being called. It happens occasionally. What would be my next step?
Well, you have to ask who's calling it. And I would assume the majority of the time, it's one of two things. You either have some paranormal activity, not necessarily anything toxic. When I say paranormal activity, I'm not talking about anything dangerous per se, but possibly a nuisance, and you definitely need to set boundaries. I tell my psychic mediumship students this from class 1. Set boundaries. You don't like people calling your name at night. You don't like spirits coming in your room at night. You don't like to be woken up between 3 and 5:30 in the morning, right? That's the haunting hour. You have to set boundaries. So do that. But I'm also feeling, and for you, it's more like messaging coming in. And that we don't want to send off, We are talking about hearing our names usually when the veil gets lifted. So that's when we're waking up or we're dozing off. And it's coming usually from a guide or an ancestor who has a message for you. So there is some area in your life right now, easiest way to find out what they're trying to say. Look at your life and say, where is the biggest area of change going on with me right now? Sometimes you don't even know it yet. I feel for you, you do. So wherever that area of change is, or that change is needed, you're just going to want to stop and you're going to want to ask them what they're trying to say about it. Okay. It's easy to sit for about 5 to 10 minutes with whoever it is that's talking to you, ancestor or guide, with a notepad and a pen, and just sort of close your eyes and listen and say, can we go back to that? Because they probably already told you and you forgot because you were asleep. Keep a dream journal, but sit with them, 5 to 10 minutes, just close your eyes and don't try to control it. Just pay attention to what pops into your head and then write that down in the journal, and there's your answer. Okay.
Very cool. We have one from Joe.
Okay.
Says, is my new friend James the one?
No. This is from Joe, wants to know if James is the one, like love one. My new friend. It's funny you say it that way because it feels like a friend. It does not feel like a soulmate contract that could function in the day-to-day. Okay, turning into what we would consider marriage or long-term, relationship. I actually feel that there's some flightiness here. Sometimes I feel like you can get triggered with a love partner and become flighty or inconsistent or unavailable and detached or unwilling to really work with someone. But it depends on how you're rubbed. If you get rubbed the wrong way, it's hard to get you back on board. It's really, I pity the fool. But I think that most of what I'm feeling is with him. And what that means is that this is great as a friendship. This is a great opportunity for you guys to share and to help one another. But this person doesn't feel ready for something like that yet. And I think that there's a lot of processing with James that hasn't gone on in his head, especially in regards to like who he is or things he's been through or what it really means and how he can apply that to his life, what he's supposed to do going forward. I think that there's not a ton of energy available for that kind of a love partnership. I also feel that the personalities here between the two of you are very, very different. So we have sort of a solid, stable, Capricornish feel, and then we have the sort of like wild Gemini, Aquarius, Sagittarius energy coming here. And we've, when we look at that, it's like, oh, well, that's what most great relationships are made of. That they can balance each other out. Not always. Sometimes it's a little much. It's very extreme, and it's almost like the astrologer Christina Del Rey is always like, well, you gotta watch out because water will put fire right out, and that's not the kind of imbalance that works. So yeah, in a nutshell, I think that this can work well as a friendship for long periods of time. The one thing that I do feel with you though is you getting emotionally attached and emotionally involved. And I feel you almost putting all your eggs in one basket and being able to feel very deeply for this person, before you should kind of put all those cards on the table and give your heart away. So be mindful of that because that will make the friendship more awkward, okay? Or keeping it like more awkward. And I think it may have already surpassed that point, but we'll see. There are good things here. I don't feel that he's ready for that. So it's also possible you could be patient, but we're talking years.
I want to run through and give some thanks. Caitlin and Carrie MS and Not Tameable all said thank you. It's very great. Thank you for the messages. And I want to thank Carrie, Gloria, and Megan for their donations, and Kala as well. Thank you so much, everybody. It means so much.
You guys are welcome. And yes, thank you for the donations.
Fantastic. Okay, we have one from Brooke.
Okay.
Who says, I feel like my husband's grandmother, Gail, is in my home. I feel like she's watching me. Could it be her?
Yeah, it is her because I'm not saying it's only her, but she mentions you have some of her things. So originally I thought it was like collectibles or china or something like this. I guess it could be ashes. I definitely see some photographs as well, but I didn't think it was ashes as much as I thought it was like her things. And I saw them in a room to the left. And so it seems almost like there's a wall of her, like a memorial. And she said she's inclined to speak to you or come to you because you listen. And so there seems to be a familiarity here. I also feel that you guys are very similar, you know, almost like you would have been girlfriends. You know, if you didn't have this major age difference and you had gotten to spend some time together, I think that there really would have been a nice friendship here where the personalities are very similar. She finds you to be entertaining and quick-witted and really adaptable, and she admires your multitasking abilities, but she also admires the way that you take care of everybody, including him, being that you can step in and be the voice of reason. You don't let his moods or his anxieties or his whatever, you know, the attitudes like push you around. Like you're not going to walk on eggshells. You're like, this is how it is. This is how it needs to be. This is how we fix it. Let's not cry about it. Let's move on. You know, let's talk about this. This is not something we sweep under the carpet and, you know, disregard in an argument. This is something that has to be processed. She just shows all these, she's giving me all these images of little tiffs and not so little tiffs and whatever, and how you just handle it. I mean, you just like a wave comes and you're like, all right, I'm just gonna ride that wave. You know, if it knocks me down, I'm gonna get back up. And I don't always know that he knows how to do that or that he chooses to do that. So it's almost like you're teaching him how to do that. And the more you do that, the more you hold everything together. It's like you're this great matriarch. I think beyond what you realize, I don't think you also give yourself enough credit or enough time to yourself. It's almost like pamper yourself more, give more to yourself. She said you could raise the stake a lot higher. You're a very valuable player, a very valuable member. She likes you very much. Yeah, that's her.
That's cool.
I also don't feel that she got a very proper goodbye. So I don't know if this is with everybody she's mentioning or if it's just with him, or it just feels in general like I didn't get a very proper goodbye, and she is giving you some white roses to give out to the family, which are symbolic of like a peace dove or the peace bridge, you know, bridging that gap in communication. There's some unfinished feelings there, not from her, but from them, for sure. Okay.
We have one from Carla.
Okay.
It says, will my husband Darren move with me?
Well, I mean, I'm hearing no, but I can look into it more. I feel a stubborn energy there, and I feel like Daryl likes things on his own terms, and I feel that you may get lip service out of him. So he may say, yes, I'll move, whatever, I'll give in, but it's going to have to be like on my terms, or like I'll meet you there, or like I will go later. And I think that because technically this is going to fall in a free will zone, I can't say what he's going to do. He has his own free will. I can only go by the highest likelihoods and give you like degrees of likelihood. I think that even if he did do it, he would do it bitterly and regrettably and like almost like you're getting punished in some way. I feel you doing well and thriving. And then I feel him being disempowered by his own hand and resentful and possibly storming off or creating some kind of dilemma where he can leave. And I think that you got a long road ahead of you, you know, I think that you do. But I don't think that means you shouldn't go. So I guess the answer is yes and no is the highest likelihood. But again, he has free will. He could change it any time. That's up to him. I don't feel there's anything more for you to do with this. I think that you just need to have follow through on what's best.
Very good. We have one from our friend Danny.
Which Danny?
Danny Johnson.
Danny Johnson, yeah. How are you?
She said today is the 1-year anniversary of her mom's death. She's wondering, how is she, and was she with us at the water today when Dad and I gave her flowers?
Oh, wow. So it's really funny because, first of all, I can't believe it's been a year. Like, that feels like 3 months, 4 months. I remember the first time she came to me to go to you. And it seems like it was just yesterday. So this is remarkable. But I will say this. Earlier, when I was flat ironing my hair for this, she was in the bathroom. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to reach out to Danny. And I did see you at the water. And I saw you with the mail. I didn't know who that was. I didn't really ask her. But that had to be your dad or any other people that were there with you. And then you messaged me. And I haven't gotten to those messages yet. But all of that happened at the same time in just like a wisp, you know, of a moment. And So I know she was there because I was about to, I just didn't have time to reach out to you at that moment. And what she makes me feel is that you guys are releasing in more celebration this year. I think that the releasing, whether it was flowers or balloons or, you know, it could literally be anything, of ashes, anything you did, paper, in a ceremonial way where you released and set it free. She says that that was you setting the pain free and letting go of the pain of not just, she said, not just my passing, but the years leading up to it. And the toll that it took, and the way that we all had a heaviness and we couldn't breathe. It was like a weight lifted off your chest, off your shoulders, off your head. You know, how it was like celebrating, like a second line. Okay, New Orleans, the second line. It was more like that this time. Because even if we tried to roll that in at the ceremony last year, it wasn't really authentic. You can't force that kind of joy, that kind of release. And we've given it the time that it needed, and she's proud of you for feeling what you've been needing to feel this whole time. Your father, on the other hand, seems to be in some areas digressing a little bit and, you know, struggling with this where it's reminding him of what he misses and how that, she says, in terms of him, if you could just let him know, I know I'm irreplaceable. You know, what we had was irreplaceable. But that's okay. It has its special place. But there's so much more for you to do, and there's more coming for you. And so just keep getting out there and dancing. And I feel like she enjoyed this so much. She said, I enjoyed this so much more than the first thing, you know, which was like last year, the funeral and everything. It just, this was like the real funeral. This was like the real celebration and release and acknowledging the graduation of my life from one level to the next. But for all of us, we all holding hands from one level to the next. She loves you very much. I don't know if you changed your hair. I haven't seen you in a bit, but she mentions your hair. She's like doing this. And then, so whether you like trimmed it or you've been doing something different with the color or the way that you're like parting it, I feel like your hair, this is fun. This is fun. Okay. She's talking about how beautiful you are. She loves you very much. Oh yeah. She's been around. Well, this explains a lot.
That's so sweet. Yeah, I can't believe that's been a year either. Holy cow.
That was a year.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. We have one from Leslie. Says, I have been out of work since March, and I have a job interview tomorrow at Garrison Place Retirement Home for a receptionist position. I'm wondering if it will go well.
I think so. Let me see if there's any advice they can give you on how to kind of nail that. You know, there may be someone who's coming in and is also trying for the position who may have this great representation to them, but is like flighty, inconsistent. Some people have a great presentation. They know how to catch the audience's eye, but there's, it's like a mask. It's like they're playing a role. There's a lack of sincerity behind it. And they're really two-faced in a way, right? Though I'm supposed to be working with the public, and it's like, yeah, that's true. But we also want to make sure that you have consistency in character, that you have like patience, that you're kind, that you can handle the demands and the stressors that are going to come at you. There's a reason I don't deal with the public and Polly does. You know what I mean? So, you know, this person doesn't seem to have the ability to be in it for the long haul, no longevity. And I'm thinking that the interviewers, those who make final decision, will catch that because you come in with a little less like pizzazz, but you definitely are consistent. And I think that your ability to go in or whatever through Zoom, however that's going to be, right? Just speak confidently and sincerely, make a lot of eye contact, and make it clear that you have a great track record. Like, however you can fit that in to the questions, or I'm going to just keep pointing this out. I'm going to point out how consistent I am in character. That's it. You know what I mean? And then like, it just seems to offset it. So it looks good to me. Yeah.
Love that good news.
Yeah. Good job news
Yes.
tonight. That's awesome.
For sure. We have one from Megan.
Okay.
She said her grandmother Mary passed and placed her dad up for adoption, and she recently found her son, which is Megan's uncle. And she's wondering if her grandmother Mary knows that they found her.
That's a lot.
Does
Grandma Mary is deceased. She put dad up for adoption. What's his name?
I don't know, but
and he's not deceased.
No, he's
also deceased.
Yeah, 'cause she recently found
Okay.
her son. Well, he might be, but the question is, does Mary know that they found her?
Found who?
Mary, the grandmother.
Okay. Okay. So, like, I don't understand this story, but that's very left brain, and I'm like right now. So, whatever that is, the feeling she gives me with this is that she is aware of this. I don't want to say every step along the way, but I feel like there was one dynamic move recently, and this may have happened like over the computer or through some kind of ancestry like DNA line or something like this. There was one major breakthrough that occurred, and that's when she makes me feel like she was really there. She's also talking about, I feel like, watching over you, and that she has been watching over you. I don't know if you're dealing with work change or you have dental stuff going on right now. I can't prescribe or diagnose, but do, pay attention to the teeth. Typically, though, when I'm getting the teeth, it has to do with work change, career change, changes in circumstances involving your resources. And she says, too, it makes me feel like we're also looking at who looks alike. So it's like this part of your face and possibly also your hair. I see similarities in several different females' features. Okay, similar features. She feels lighthearted to me. She's pretty funny. She loved a good conversation. She could just sort of sit and talk with you about things and not feel like I got to run off. There's something more important than this. She makes me feel like when she's spending time with you, she wants you to know that you're the only person in the world. You're the most important person in the room, and this is going to get the time and attention that it deserves. And she wants to make sure that you know she's giving you that. And she said that's how this was handled. So whether it was looking for them through DNA or it was, conversations with other people or sifting through the computer, however it was done, it was handled like thoroughly. And in the same way that she just showed me she watches over you, it's like, I'm going to focus on one piece at a time. I'm going to give this the time and energy that it deserves. And I feel like that's where the profit is. That's where the breakthrough is. And she's very pleased with that. She just shows me like dancing feet, like celebrating it. I'm also wondering if there's like a stone. So whether she was like buried or cremated, is there a stone? Is there some kind of a memorial spot? There is some talk of those memorial spots. And yeah. And I feel like you could apply this to the rest of your life. So like that ability to focus and push and push and push and ask those questions and keep on and persevere, not give up. She's really proud of that. And she feels like this is a great life lesson for you also. Okay, I do feel like they're together. I feel like there are 5, 6, maybe even of them together over here also watching out over you. So, yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah, she's not like a super emotional person, She's kind of matter of fact. Take it light, keep it light, look for the silver lining, keep go, keep going, pick yourself up, keep going. And she's got this great way about her. She says that you do also of almost putting things out of your mind, it's sort of like, you know what, that's just going to bring me down, that's just going to bring me down. I'm not even going to focus on that. I'm going to cut that off right here. Not even going to give that any mind. And people may say to you sometimes, well, you should be more worried or you should be thinking on that, and she says, no, that is not the way to live. It is literally, when you're up to bat, make a move. The rest of the time, put things out of your mind, okay? And if you're not doing that, you need to be doing that more. Yeah. Interesting journey.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We have one from Caitlin.
Okay.
Who asks, Will my move back to my hometown of Ogdensburg, New York benefit my son Damon and I?
I think that in some ways it's really going to benefit Damon. I think for you, it's more of a stepping stone. And I think at this point, if you're looking at, you know, in a parental perspective, like what's good for the child is good for me, then so be it. I think that if we're looking at what's good for you is good for the child, you know, then we have a different conversation going on here. But I think that you may be receiving more help, or there may be more ease in your circumstances. It just has a lighter feel. I get the impression that where you are now, not so much the greatest place. There are other places that could work better for you. But I think that his ability to blossom is definitely increased when we look at you making this move back to that town. And I also wonder if you should be mindful not to allow it to dictate like the rest of your life, you know? So we don't want to be like, well, until he's 18, you know, here I am. No. We're talking maybe 2 to 3 years, you know, and then maybe is the circumstance going to change? Is there somewhere else to be? Just be fluid and be open. I would say it that way.
Very cool. This one's from Jill Marie.
Okay.
Said, as a kid, I would astral travel, and when I told my dad, he said not to because dark spirits would enter my body while I was gone, and I wouldn't be able to get back in. Is there any truth to that?
No, that's how the old timers were taught, right? So they talk about bizarre, like, tether cords and golden tethers and how you shouldn't astral travel, like, without someone else to tug on your tether cord and bring you back. That doesn't happen. There are, and then I've heard other old timers talk about things like astral police. There are astral police who will stop you and send you back. You know, there are a lot of conflicting ideas from that age group. And I'll tell you why I don't believe in any of it is because it's natural, it's involuntary. And if we're doing it all the time, accidentally, and we haven't like died or become possessed or gotten lost in outer space, you know, that's not the way it's going to happen. The universe isn't set up like a mock trap. You know, we end up with possession and attachments, quite frankly, by being stupid. And astral travel isn't one of them, okay? I don't think you should deliberately be putting yourself way out there for, you know, if you don't have an agenda, is this something you need to be doing? I mean, you know, kind of like deep states of meditation. I also, when I train my psychic mediumship students, we don't do any meditation. I don't agree with a lot of that because it can tap into some uncharted territories that maybe you're not ready for, you don't need to get involved in if you don't know where you're going or you don't know what the point is. But if you do, there's no harm in it. It's self-development. It's sometimes spiritual or energetic discovery, and it's fine. But I think that too many people are paranoid. And we could blame the church for a lot of that, and, you know, the scientific and mental health communities for a lot of that. There's a paranoia about intuitive abilities and about allowing your mind to wander freely. You know, we're so restricted in the way that we should think. Stay inside this box or else there's a monster waiting to get you. And this is part of the sickness. You know, this is why society is so screwed up. And so, I think that as long as you understand what your intention is, you're fine. And I think that possessions and attachments, I know, possessions and attachments come from toying with drug and alcohol abuse, being involved in like domestic situations or any extreme level of violence or anger and aggression for extended periods of time. It can happen when a person is deliberately feeding it very easily. They're toying with dark energies, and astral travel isn't on that list. It is a natural tendency. It will happen when we need to level up in our lives. I did a class, a free mini class on here called Receiving the Download, where I break down different reasons that people may receive instruction in a download. And I think we talked about some astral travel there, but that's one of them. Sometimes you have to go somewhere else to learn what you need to learn. It can't all be done on the earth plane, and that's fine. So not so much. That's a great question. I love that question. That's fun. Yeah.
This seems to be a pretty popular one these days. This one's from Cassie.
Okay.
My right ear has been ringing a lot lately. Can you tell me why?
I can, and I think I did like 3 videos on this on my TikTok channel last week, so check those out. We talked about the left ear ringing and the right ear ringing, and when the right ear is ringing, yes, it's a warning that you should pay attention to your circumstances. The important thing to do when you're getting physical cues is to understand that that's part of your alert system, and you shouldn't be running to a psychic to get an answer. You should be sitting with it and asking for about 5 to 10 minutes, what is my body, what is my higher mind, or any spirits that are warning me right now, what is it about? So if you're doing that and it's failing, it's because you're allowing the left side of your brain to intrude. You are dictating it. You have to learn to let go and just receive whatever is coming up. Here's what you want to do at this point. Look at the patterns that are coming up in your life. Is there anyone around you you're not trusting? Is there any situation in your life that feels strained? Whether it's been verbally, shown to you, whether it's obvious in any way, or if it's still hidden behind the scenes. Where do you feel it in your gut? Okay, which one? And when you can look at your situations and you can look at the people, you should be able to narrow it on down to where you feel weird energy. And wherever that is, then you want to narrow it down even further, and you want to say, okay, specifically what? Show me what? Show me who? Show me how? Show me when? And then prepare yourself so that when that situation arises, you've already got plan A, B, and C lined up. Nothing should be able to catch you off guard if you know how to do this. Okay? I'm going to have to go with a relationship and some of your work stuff right now. Okay. Yeah.
Now we have one from Kim.
Okay.
Who says, I've been thinking about my friends Peppa and Kathleen lately. They have passed on. Does that necessarily mean that they're around me sometimes, or am I just reminiscing?
Yeah, it does actually. And in the same way that, I don't know if you were tuned in here earlier, but my assistant teacher, Danny, asked earlier about her mom. It's the 1-year anniversary of her mother. Well, her mother was talking to me in the bathroom while I was flat ironing my hair to come down here. And her mother does that from time to time. She'll have me reach out to Danny. I was literally about to reach out to Danny, even though I didn't have time for it. And Danny sent 2 messages. I don't know what they were. We didn't talk about it, but here it is. So that's how it works. Anyone who is trying to communicate with you from the other side will work through your people to get that messaging across. They will work through anyone in your range that's a medium. So it could even be people that you don't know, right? Or people could oddly channel things out to you and not remember that they said it or know why. Kindness, the kindness of others. Others are the mouthpiece for God, right? We all are. We're all vessels. And often we see people missing their loved ones, and they really don't understand that they are there and trying to communicate. And it's because of what you just asked. We assume that if we're thinking of them, it's because we miss them, or it's an anniversary, or we are really wanting to hear an answer from them or a message or a guidance. We assume that that's how it is. But in actuality, and I would even say the majority of the time, it's because they were just around you, or they are reaching out to you. And if you miss it, they will probably show up in your dreams. And it's really important to know that not only if we hear songs in our head, or we're hearing their name called, we're hearing our own name called, we're thinking about them, it's different ways that you are able to receive a message from them. And without knowing the language, it's probably just going missed. And so we think, I really would like to have them around. But no, absolutely, they have been. So one of the keys to watch for, especially with, was it Peppa, is the left ear ringing. Okay, so we want to understand through something called death coaching. I did a free mini class called death coaching up here too, did I not? Okay, and the full course is available, I believe, for sale on the website. It's like a 2-hour training. But it's about learning how they have clairs. Clairs is class next week, or Thursday, I'm sorry, this week. Is this clairs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So one of the things that like Peppa has, for example, is clairaudience. All right. So when she comes in, it's going to ring your left ear. You may also have an anxiety attack, or you may sweat. And then the thoughts go in your head, the thoughts of her or any messages that she has, song lyrics, things like this. And what we know is that if Peppa has this and you happen to have that same ability, we have a match. So anytime we're talking about death coaching, we're talking about the clairs, we're trying to communicate better with our deceased loved ones, we want to match in the clairs. That's what we're looking for. And you definitely have some of this here. You also have with Kathleen, clairsentience, which is feeling in your body a physical impression of whatever it is that maybe she went through before her passing. It could also be like a heat or a tingling or a feeling of pressure somewhere. And then her coming in and communicating with you. So absolutely. I love the way that you asked that. You know, it's sort of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? We always think it's us thinking on them, but it is usually them coming to us, and that's why we think on them. So pay attention to any signs and symbols, number patterns, you know, songs that are coming on the radio. Pay attention to everything that happens around the time that they came through, just before, during, and after for a bit, because that's all part of the messaging system as well. They love you very much. They're funny, and they're quite active. Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you at the clairs, hopefully Thursday. I do want to say thank you to the members. I will see you guys here next week, 8 p.m. at TikTok, 8:30 here on YouTube. And your weekly horoscopes are going up tomorrow afternoon here on YouTube for every zodiac sign. Thank you to the members: Bernadette Ruoff, Jill Haney, Chicken Mama, Carrie Watson, Vanessa Dempsey, Sherry Carter, Gloria Augusto, Angelica Pilar, Candace Kempton, Lori Thielon, Jamie Joe, the Pisces Goddess, Cheryl Gottman, LAF, Michelle Kiska, Mary Hodgson, Heather, Amy Nicole, Amanda Herbert, and to everyone who donated also. Thank you so much. Thank you, Polly.
Very welcome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Spirit.
Thank you, Spirit.
I'm going to get this back to you.